Hello and welcome to Skypothesis. We are two brothers dedicated to unique and immersive roleplay experience and super cool original characters. We believe that there is infinite fun to be had in vanilla Skyrim, and we are so excited to share our very first build here on YouTube with all of you today, and that build is the Ghost of Atmora. We have taken ideas from all corners of fantasy worlds around the internet, epic novels, and movies to use to fuel a brand new, totally immersive Skyrim roleplay experience. With an active imagination and a hunger for high fantasy, we know that the builds we provide you with will scratch that fantasy roleplay itch until Bethesda finally blesses us with the Elder Scrolls 6. So without further ado, and before we get into stats, perk spread, armor, weapon combos, let's jump into the story of the Ghost of Atmora. The Ghost of Atmora hails from a small island tribe off the southern coast of Atmora. After the eruption of Red Mountain, many of the Skull's sister tribes were scattered, some driven by the ash itself and some left to distance themselves from Dunmer refugees searching for new land. The Ghost of Atmora's ancestors were among those to brave the full breadth of the Sea of Ghosts and reach uninhabited islands just south of Atmora, a place where they could live as the Allmaker intended. Despite there being very little lore on the current state of Atmora, we believe that their island soil is heated by volcanic activity and could sustain vegetation and animal life. Because of this, the tribesmen are brilliant naturalists, being able to create useful potions and poisons from only the ingredients they could find on the land around them. They made excellent archers as well as seafarers. Only these skilled tribesmen knew the secrets of navigating the perilous seas, and recent generations have occasionally traveled south and established trade with settlements like Raven Rock. Being raised in one of these tribes, the Ghost of Atmora was no exception to the skilled tribesmen. He was a dead-eye archer with a remarkably steady hand, a resourceful alchemist, and a skilled sailor. In addition, he was particularly gifted in the ancient Atmoran practice of ritual ice spirit animation, represented in our roleplay as potent frost Atronox. He would come to rely wholly on these skills and his oneness with nature as he traveled northeastern and central Tamriel, seeking and carrying out the Allmaker's will. You see, the village shaman read great and terrible portents at the Ghost of Atmora's birth. He was destined to be a great hero, and his voice would be strong enough to calm the fury of a storm and tame the anger of a bear. However, he also saw eyes stretching into infinity, and tentacles reaching deep into the infant spirit. Hermamora, the enemy of the Skull, was somehow tied to this child's future. The tribe supplicated the Allmaker on his behalf with prayers and rituals, but nothing could alter fate. The families called a council and agreed that he should have a normal childhood with his people, but when he came of age, he should embark on a journey to discover what purpose the Allmaker had for him. After leaving the tribe, he spent many years of his life traveling through Skyrim, Morrowind, and Cyrodiil, living a nomadic life communing with nature and ridding the world of evil quietly. Despite growing older in the wilds of the world, the Ghost of Atmora's skill with the bow remained as sharp as ever. One fateful day, as he and his ancient ice spirit companions were hunting a pack of werewolves in the Jural Mountains, the Ghost of Atmora found himself in the middle of an Imperial Stormcloak skirmish. Despite the situation, he couldn't help but feel the Allmaker had placed him on this path, and he was very close to finally fulfilling his destiny. The Ghost of Atmora has parallels to both Ysgramor and Talos. All three are heroes from Atmora, and all three are possible reincarnations of Shor's spirit, having been sung back into existence at times of great Nordic need. However, unlike the grand and heroic exploits of Ysgramor and Talos, his name would not be sung in mead halls or written in history books. Yes, the feats of the last Dragonborn are known far and wide, but the man himself is seldom seen and rarely recognized. He prefers the solace of the wilderness to the noise of the streets, and seeks extended periods of solitude to prepare spiritually for his battles with the Daedra and the dragons. He is a neutral good character who has strong faith in the Allmaker but is willing to take a life for the greater good. He believes the Allmaker's purpose for him is to cleanse Skyrim from dark forces, undead, and anything that preys on ordinary folk. Skyrim will not know spiritual peace until these evils are rooted from the land and the dead are laid to rest once again. In roleplaying, you should go out of your way to slay such evil, which includes joining the Dawnguard and slaying the Dragon Priests. The main quest in Dragonborn DLC must be given precedence as they relate directly with the path the Allmaker has chosen. Freeing the Skull and doing all of their side quests as soon as possible is a must as well. The Civil War should be solved diplomatically during Season Unending. and the companions should be joined specifically so that the Ghost of Atmora can begin to heal the once glorious and werewolf-free guild. Any shortcomings of individual members of the companions can be looked past, for the Ghost of Atmora, deep in his soul, can remember in his past life leading the original 500 companions to glory. Aside from those quest lines, the ball is in your court to decide how you would like the Ghost of Atmora to shape the future of Skyrim. Relevant side quests include Ill Met by Moonlight, Kind Sacred Trials, Return to Your Roots, Laid to Rest, and any other side quest which allows you to investigate the supernatural and heal the spiritually damaged heart of Skyrim. Now that we have dug deep into the backstory and roleplay, let's get into the Ghost of Atmora's weapons, armor, and overall playstyle. One thing that you will notice about our videos and character builds is that we care far more about roleplay and overall aesthetic than we do weapon and armor stats. If you want the strongest build in the game, get yourself some Daedric gear and go to town. But for the Ghost of Atmora, we have chosen the skull coat, gauntlets, and boots because of his northern heritage and ancestry. For the helmet, we will be using the Helmet of the Old Gods for its plus 30 points to Magicka, along with the fact that it looks so cool with the skull gear. The antlers make for a brilliant druidy and one with nature look. This gear can be obtained as early in the game as you want to get them. The Helmet of the Old Gods can be obtained by completing the quest The Forsworn Conspiracy, launched by simply entering Markarth, and the skull gear can be looted off the corpse of Adis in Falbathars. While this Dwemer ruin is all the way in Solstheim, we recommend hopping on the boat and heading there as soon as possible, so that you can get this super cool druid aesthetic before you progress too far in other quest lines. For auxiliary gear, you will want an Amulet of Talos and a Ring of Fortify Archery. Moving over to the weapons side of things, we have chosen to use an upgraded Forsworn bow, combined with Forsworn arrows. The bow looks very natural, and the two-pronged arrows look just like something a druid would hunt with. Once again, we know this isn't the strongest bow in the game by a long shot, but it matches his aesthetic so perfectly, we think that it more than makes up for it. Other notable choices would be the Bow of the Hunt for early game, or the Glass Bow of the Stag Prince for late game. Moving on to potions and poisons. The Ghost of Atmora brews a variety of potions and poisons to use in combat, most of which you have complete creative liberty on, but these two will be used most often. Number 1 is the Huntsman's Draught. This is a potion of Fortify Marksman and Regenerate Health, made with Canis Root, Namira's Rot, and Juniper Berries. Number 2 is the Poison of Exposure. This is a special weakness to frost poison made from Whitecap and Ashhopper jelly that should be applied to enemies from afar before your hulking ice spirit friends smash them to bits, or before you surround them in ice with your upgraded Frost Breath Shout. On tougher enemies, its effect can be amplified further by first applying weakness to poison. Now for spells and shouts. The Ghost of Atmora exclusively conjures Frost Atronachs. He is not a summoner, and these two Atronachs represent ancient skull magic of animating ice, similar to how they enchant ice to make Stalrim. Shouts used are Ice Form, Frost Breath, Kind's Peace, and most importantly, Become Ethereal. Become Ethereal is both tremendously useful in combat to line up the perfect shot, and brings the whole ghost aesthetic to life. Now for the stats and perk spread. You will want to start with an even stat spread between health, stamina, and magicka. Once you can comfortably summon both Atronachs, you can focus more on health and stamina. By the time you hit level 40, you will want the following perks. For archery, you'll want all perks in Overdraw, Eagle Eye, 1 perk in Critical Shot, 2 perks in Steady Hand, Power Shot, Hunter's Discipline, Ranger, Quick Shot, and Bullseye. For alchemy, you'll want all perks in Alchemist, Physician, Poisoner, Concentrated Poison, Green Thumb, Benefactor, Snake Blood, and Purity. For conjuration, you'll want the Novice through Adept perks, 2 perks in Summoner, Atromancy, Elemental Potency, and Twin Souls. For light armor, you'll want 1 perk into Agile Defender, Custom Fit, Unhindered, and most importantly, Windwalker. This skill you will likely need to level up with a trainer. If you plan to play past level 40, you could perk Smithing to get better bows for late game, and always add more perks to light armor for better defense. For our special moves, we first have Animated Ice, which is the combination of Ice Form shortly followed by summoning both Frost Atronachs. This represents calling your ancestral spirit companions to aid you, and freezing enemies in place to give you time to position effectively. The next special move is Huntsman's Repose. For Huntsman's Repose, first drink your Huntsman's Draught, which includes a health regeneration effect, then use the Become Ethereal shout while you have the Eternal Spirit ability granted by Parthenax. This ability grants an additional health regeneration effect while in spirit form. Use this to calm your mind and body in the heat of battle and line up the perfect shot. Finally, we have Dragon of the North. For this move, you will first apply a Poison of Weakness to poison, made from Deathbell and Bleeding Crown, then apply a Poison of Exposure to boost frost damage, then use your Frost Breath shout. This makes the Ghost of Atmora's frost moves more useful against frost-resistant enemies, but is mostly done for role-playing purposes. The Greybeards name you Ysmir, or the Dragon of the North. This move allows your Thu'um to match the power of your title. And with that, we are ready to wrap up the build. We set out to make an interesting, Skull-like druid that combine unique aesthetics, fun gameplay, and engaging roleplay. We hope you've enjoyed the journey, and if you like what we do, we have many more builds planned, so be sure to like and subscribe to keep the magic of Skyrim alive. We'll see you next time right here on Skypothesis.